Okay, today we're going to start our unit on character traits. Our learning target for today is, I can describe what an internal and external character trait is and list various character traits describing myself. So, I know that over the past couple of weeks, even longer, you've been talking about the different parts of a story. You've looked at setting, you've looked at characters, all the events that happen, problem, solution. Today we're going to focus just on characters. Who wants to read for me what a character is? I know that you already know this, but let's kind of do a quick review. Go ahead. Characters are
the people or animal who
act
out the story.
Okay, so they're the people, sometimes animals that are in the story. What we're going to look at today is really looking at those characters and seeing what kind of traits, what kind of things that we use or words use to describe them. We can describe our characters using, so our character traits are words that describe a character from both the inside and the outside. We sometimes call them internal and external, but they're the words that we're using to describe them. So when we look at outside and inside traits, outside traits are those things that you can see with your eyes. And we're just going to focus on this side just yet. So let's think about it. When you go and you brush your teeth or you're going to comb your hair, what do you look in to see yourself when you're combing your hair to make sure you're doing it right?
Mirror.
You look in a mirror. And when you look in a mirror, you're able to see everything. And that's what a physical trait is. If I was going to use my mirror, and I'm going to look right in it, what's one thing that I can see? I can see I have brown eyes. That's a physical trait. It's what we can see. If I look again, I have blonde hair. Something that I can see from the outside, or something that people can see when they look at you. So what we're going to do, what we see with our eyes. Example of an outside trait, you have blue eyes. Some of you may have blue eyes. Some of you may have brown hair. Some of you may be skinny and tall. Some of you may be short. If I was standing right next to my husband and someone was looking at me and I would describe myself as being short because he's so tall. So it's very obvious from just looking through their eyes that he would be described as tall and I would be described as short. But suppose maybe someone who's shorter than me, like a kindergarten student, is standing next to me, then I would look really tall and they would look short, okay? So external or outside traits are really those things that you see only with your eyes. You can really see them. So, let's look. I'm going to describe myself. If I were to describe myself, what did I say? I look in the mirror, let me see, brown eyes. And let me look, blonde hair. What's another word you think? Can you help me? Because you guys can look at me and describe. What do you think?
I think you have brown eyebrows.
Okay. We said that if I was standing, I would be tall.
I was going to say that.
You were going to say that one? So can I, with my eyes, see all of these?
No. Yes.
If I was to look at myself, would I be able to see that all of these are true?
Yes. No. Yes.
No?
Yes.
Can I see with my eyes that I have brown hair?
That's the
If I looked in the
outside.
mirror,
Yes.
would I be able to see that I have brown eyes, blonde hair,
Yes.
brown eyebrows, and that I'm tall?
Yes.
Yes. All those things I can see with my eyes. So that's all our outside traits. Things that you can see. Okay. What you're going to do to get your mind thinking, you're going to turn and talk. Each partner, you're going to list 2 outside character traits that you would use to describe yourself. Pick one person that's going to go first. Decide on who's going to go first. You're going to choose your 2 character traits, and then you're going to switch and let your partner do it. Think about, is it something, if I looked in the mirror or someone was looking at me, would they be able to see that trait?
Yes.
Then you know that it's an outside trait. Okay, turn and talk. 2 traits. Okay, what's another one? Good. Brown hair and tan skin. Good. All right, Sean, what are you saying?
Yellow hair.
Okay. Absolutely, you have brown hair. Yeah, very good. What do you think?
I'm wearing pants okay, and light colored skin and
Nice job. Okay, good. Sure, okay, which is okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Good job. Okay, face this way. Nice job. You guys really looked at yourselves and kind of thought about, when I'm standing in the mirror at home, what can I see from the outside? So outside traits are those things all on the outside. Short, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. Okay, now we're going to look at something a little different. So we're going to go back to this. So we looked at this side. Those are our outside traits. Now we're going to look at a character from the inside. How is a character described from the inside? When you describe a character from the inside, we can't look at them in the mirror anymore. It's not traits or ideas of things that are on the outside of you. It's traits of how they feel, kind of like a personality or a thought. What we learn based on what the character says and does. So inside, and we kind of give a visual of like a heart. Think about your heart is inside you. So when you're thinking, when we're talking about those inside traits, think about your heart inside and say, what did I learn by just looking at what the character says or does? Some examples are they kind? Are they sad? Maybe something happened and they're sad. Are they happy or silly? Are those things, can I look in the mirror and say, I'm kind?
No.
No, I'm not gonna see kind. I may, when they do an action, I may predict. What does it mean to predict?
Predict means like I think, and it just means that I predict that I'm kind or.
Okay, so you're making a guess. You're making a prediction. I looked at how that person acted, and I'm guessing they're kind. I'm inferring and guessing that that person's kind. I can't see it, but I'm watching their actions, and that's how I led to it being kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You can know what happened inside you because you can feel.
You can feel it. Absolutely. Kind of like your heart. You can feel your heart beating. You feel your inside traits. You feel that you're sad at times, or you feel that you're happy. We all know sometimes we're silly. Well, we feel silly because we're laughing, and that leads us to an inside trait. Good job, Paula. Okay, so remember, these were my outside traits, right? Remember we came up with all of these? Now, let's look at this side. How would I describe myself from the inside? Well, I may put kind. Because I'm with you guys right now, I may say happy. This weekend I may do some fun things with my kids, and when I'm doing that, I may seem silly. Sometimes that happens, right? When you act silly. Or at times, sometimes, when you have a really busy day, I may say that I'm tired. Does that happen? So it's a trait. Remember, I can't see this, but I can feel this. So if you can feel the trait, it's an inside trait. Keep remembering your heart. You can feel your heart beating. You can feel a trait inside you. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we're going to do now, just like you did with the outside, we're going to turn and talk. And instead of outside traits, you're going to come up with 2 traits describing the inside. If you went first the first time, let your partner go first and then switch. Okay, go ahead.
So I am
Good job. Why do you say that you're silly? You're saying at What's another word to describe you? Good word, helpful. Why did you describe yourself as helpful? What do you do that makes you It makes you helpful. So if somebody was watching you help another student with something, they would use the character trait helpful. Good job. Okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
1, 2, eyes on you.
Nice job. Really, really nice job. So I'm glad I heard some people saying, I asked Sarah, when you think about your character trait, I asked her, well, how do you know that? And when we get into looking at character traits with story characters in books, we're going to keep asking ourselves that question. How do you know that that's a trait? And Sarah said, described herself as what? What did you say? Helpful. And I said, well, why are you helpful? What made you think of that word? And she said, because I like to help people, or when somebody is having trouble with something, I go over and make sure that they're okay. And that is a great word to describe being helpful. Okay, so what you're going to do when you go back to your seats is the same thing, but we're going to put them together. We're going to fill out a graphic organizer where you're going to put your name in the middle. And then I did it separately. You're going to do it together. You're going to have your internal character traits, which are what? Who can remind us what the inside traits? Think of that heart.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling. How do you feel inside? And your external character traits or your outside are what? Traits that you can what? See with your eyes. Think of the mirror. So you have 2 visuals, the mirror, and then you have your heart to remember. You're going to come up with 4 words, just like you did with your turn and talk partner, but we're going to write them down. Okay, so just one more before we leave. Remember our learning target. I can describe what internal and external character traits are and how and list various character traits of myself, which is what you're going to do when you go back. Thumbs up if you are not sure of what you need to do when you go back. Okay, who can repeat it one more time before we leave? What's our goal? What are we going to do when we go back to our seats? Ava? Okay, so we're going to, what's going on this side? Inside traits, and Hala on the outside. Okay, thumbs up if you're good. Okay, when I call your table, you can go back to your seats.